What are the ethics of spellcasting? We're going to talk about that. Stay tuned. Hi everybody, welcome back. My name is Amy. I am a witch, spiritual guide, and energy healer. If you're new, if this video resonates with you, please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and hit that little bell button so you always know when my new videos come out. If you're not new, hey you, welcome back. Today I want to talk about the ethics of spell work, or the ethics of spell casting. What are the ethical repercussions and requirements that you need to consider before casting a spell, and that you need to be aware of after you cast a spell? The ethics of spell casting, for me personally, really come back to a phrase that is well known in the Wiccan read, which is, "and it hurt none." This is, I feel, a useful and viable tenet, whether you are Wiccan or not. I am not Wiccan. However, I do always try to live by this ethical code, which says that if you're not harming another living being, a lot of people would say human beings, but for me, living beings are not exempt. Other animals and forms of life, in my opinion, are just as important as people are. So for me, when I'm considering a spell, it always has to come back to, is this going to hurt somebody? The question comes up a lot about personal gain, and I don't believe that there is an issue with personal gain as long as you're not hurting somebody else. So if your gain comes at the expense of somebody else's well-being, then there's an issue. There are karmic repercussions for that, and often sooner than you realize. I'm not just talking about like the smut you can accrue and the debt that you're gonna owe in your next life. I'm talking about things that can happen in this life. If a person uses their will to harm another person in any way, that energy will come back to the original person, full force, and usually multiplied by a bit. If you're one of those people that is like, nothing good ever happens to me, my life never works, people don't like me, I keep losing my job, I don't know why these things are happening, and you find yourself asking these questions of yourself all the time, why do so many bad things happen to me? You might want to take a look at the energy that you're attracting and the energy that you're putting out. Are you sending people and the universe around you love, or are you sending it this feeling of nothing works out, everybody sucks, why do other people's lives work and mine doesn't? So that's just a very basic example of karmic repercussions. Oh, let's see if I can think of another one. Okay, say you do a spell for money. Say you do a spell for money. Just hang in with me for this. Say you do a spell, you need money, and you don't specify how it's going to come, which is fine. But then a couple days later, you find somebody's wallet, and you have two decisions that you can make. You can either keep the wallet or you can return it. Now, let's say you return the wallet. That person then gives you a reward for returning their wallet because they had something very important in their wallet. They needed it back. They didn't know where it was, and you returned it. This is the good karma side of the situation. You received money. You found money, and then you gave it back to the person it belonged to. You put somebody else's needs before your own, and because of that, you were rewarded. The other side of the situation is, say you find the wallet and you decide to keep it, or you take the money out of it and then put it in a mailbox. Well, so then you've got $20 in your pocket you didn't have before, or however much money in your pocket you didn't have before. But now, like, something happens and your hours get cut at work. Things start going wrong, and then you don't have a job anymore, and then you have to find a new one, and then you're on the verge of losing your house. Like, this sounds like kind of an extreme example, but things in the universe really do work this way. So it's not necessarily the repercussions are not necessarily going to come from the person that was directly involved, the person that you hurt to begin with. Often the consequences will come from just the universe is going to make up for the imbalance that you caused by taking something that didn't belong to you. Does that make sense? So ethics and spellcasting really come down to whether or not it is going to affect another person in a negative way. Love spells are another one. If you're doing a spell to attract love into your life, there is nothing wrong with that. Even though it would be considered personal gain, makes your life better in some way, there's still nothing wrong with that because it's not hurting somebody else. The issue would be if you are doing a spell to attract a specific person, even if you know, honestly, like whether you know the repercussions or not, whether you know their feelings about you or not, that spell, it's still going to work in some way or another. Either it'll die and it won't happen, or this person, against their will, like they'll have their own will influenced, and we all have free will. It's never okay to influence somebody else's will. So you're dealing with a specific person that you're trying to attract and not allowing them to have the choice about whether or not you perform the spell, whether or not that energy comes at them. You could end up in a really unhealthy relationship with somebody because you thought that was what you needed, and the karmic balance was thrown off, the universal energy was thrown off, and you weren't supposed to be in a relationship with that person, or you weren't supposed to be in a relationship with that person that way, and instead you took matters into your own hands and was like, I'm going to make this happen. Those are just a couple of ethics cases. If you have any questions about ethics in spell work, I can give you my opinion only, and I would love to talk to you about it. But in the end, it always has to come back to you, to your gut, to your intuition. Ask yourself, how am I going to feel when I do this? How will this affect me as a person? Am I ready to take on the karmic consequences of my actions in this case? Because nobody carries karma for, we don't carry karma for other people, right? All of the things I've done in my life, I have to work through those. Nobody's going to do it for me. And it's the same for you. We have to take responsibility for our own actions. Thank you so much for hanging in there. Again, if you're new and you found that this video resonated with you, please subscribe, like, and share this video. Don't forget to hit that little bell button. I always do this like I think it's going to be like a real bell. If you're not following me on Instagram already, you should, because I post almost every single day. And if you want to get more content like this from me, consider supporting me on Patreon. First tier patrons will receive a personal oracle or tarot reading from me, as well as shout outs in the videos, input on future videos, and access to the spiritual community that we are building together. So if you want to be in the inner circle, click on the Patreon link. All right, I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for hanging in there, and I will talk to you soon. I hope you have a beautiful day.